and action items.
Okay, item number 3, you have consideration and approval of the Utah State Library Memorandum of Agreement with San Juan County for the Overdrive Online Library. Nicole, our library director, is here.
This is just an annual contract memorandum of agreement that we have agreed to participate in the Beehive Library Consortium through with the Utah State Library. And if the commissioners approve, we agreed to pay $1,708 to participate in that. And then the Utah State Library, it's a pretty good deal because then they pay, they have committed in the contract to buy $800,000 worth of titles. So we get quite a return on that. And it opens up more options for our patrons. If it's approved, then we would need to pay, and I noticed I made some mistakes on here with date. We would need to pay it by January 1st, 2025 to fulfill the obligation. And they are having some issues with their online signing, so if they're requesting that this be signed the old-fashioned way, where it's printed out the hard copy and signed by whoever is authorized to sign those. I'm not sure if it has Lyman on here, the fiscal officer this time. A lot of times it does. And yeah, well, it has the director, but you can just change that to the commissioner. There will be 2 places on there, 2 options that I will need to mark. And one of them is just giving them the full $1,708 to decide what they want to purchase. They have a better idea of what circulates. And then the other option is, let's see, real quick. The other place we need to mark, is just to acknowledge that our ILS does not integrate with the Overdrive MARC records in the library catalog, so they are aware of that. So if you agree to that, I just need to mark those options before we send it in. So if whoever signs it can send it back to me, I'll mark those options if you approve. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions?
Well, I had a question, but you just answered the question by talking
Okay.
about the options, so thank you.
Okay.
I'll make a motion that we approve.
Motion by Commissioner Stubbs to approve.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Adams. All right. Any other questions, commissioners? If not, let's vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
That's 3 in favor. Motion carries unanimously.
Okay, thank you.
Next item.
Okay, next item on the agenda is consideration and approval of the San Juan County Clean Energy Foundation grant application for a drug detection canine. We have Sheriff Deputy Peyton Palmer here to present, and Deputy Freestone, Chief Deputy Freestone.
Thank you, sir.
So in this packet includes the county commission's support letter as well for these efforts.
Like you said, the grant was submitted to the San Juan County Clean Energy Foundation, Energy Fuels down in Blanding. As the Sheriff's Office, and our vision and our goal is primarily to protect life and property. We recognize the importance of investing in the future of our community's children. One of the stats in the packet here is mental health and safety are 2 major issues within San Juan County. 29% of people with mental health issues abuse drugs or alcohol, and over 59.3% of violent crimes committed are while a person is on drugs or alcohol. There's a lot of other stats in here. I don't want to go through the whole packet. There's a lot of pages here. San Juan County is home to one of the highways that is known to transport drugs, primarily from Mexico to major cities in Utah, Colorado, Wyoming. Highway 191 connects a lot of the states. There's a direct correlation between narcotic use and other reported crimes within a given community. Robbery, theft, financial, assault, domestic violence, overdoses are all directly affected by the use of narcotics. Reports suggest that approximately 70% of all property crimes are the result of drug abuse. The solution is to take the drugs off the streets and reduce crime. Taking illicit drugs off the streets and reducing crime will protect our communities from the adverse effects of drug abuse. There's a few bullet points in here. such as the drug canine would enhance detection and interdiction. There's obviously big loads of narcotics coming up Highway 191 being distributed to multiple different states and cities. And then from there, they're dispersed to communities like ours. The canine would support our investigations. They would reduce drug overdoses and related crimes. We could use the canine as educational and preventative measures. The canine would help build trust and rapport with the community and our youth, and help humanize our police force. There is a copy of the expenses for the first year for the canine that I submitted to the Clean Energy Foundation. The initial cost of the dog is expensive, which is why we reached out for a grant for that, and we want to thank the Clean Energy Foundation for considering us for that. What we're asking is for the county to continue to pay for the dog after the initial expenses, things like dog food, possible vet bills. The time the handler may accrue by being called out and deploying the dog or doing community programs with the dog. There are letters in here from the Blanding City Mayor, the Monticello City Mayor, Blanding City Chief, and one from the county as well. Do you have any questions?
Do you have any idea about the budget for the dog
Afterwards? So I run hound dogs, and I have 8 of them. And I spend about $100 a month to feed those dogs. So I imagine with one dog, the dog food expense to upkeep and run the dog will be pretty inexpensive. I have talked to a few of our local partners and small businesses, and they're willing to donate towards that as well, so that we can have like a donation fund for the canine for expenses like dog food, vet bills, just any expenses that may come up. They are willing to help with that.
I have another question. Is this grant already being turned in, or is in the process of being turned in?
It has been submitted. It was due on the 25th of last month.
Okay, so I'm familiar with this type of grant, and it looks really good what you guys did. And
Thank you.
then have you already had the one where they interview you and they ask you questions?
I
And,
haven't been through that yet, no.
okay.
So I just submitted. They meet on the 15th of this month, and they said they'd get back to us in August.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, yeah, it goes by quick, and so, but it looks really good, and I just had a question about the cost after, and
There is some annual training involved that might have some expense, or
would it be
stuff.
training for officers to go to? I mean,
Yeah, there's usually one handler, and that would be Deputy Palmer, that would be the handler of the dog, but they do go through updated training for both the handler and the dog, and sometimes there's an expense associated with that, but we think we have enough partners involved or interested parties, school district, that there's a lot of options out there to try and get people to help put money into this pot, but I think it's very minimal for the benefit that we have. Like right now, this is our drug dog right here. He has made 4 or 5 substantial. Just last night, he took 20 pounds of methamphetamine off the street, and is doing really well at it. But it's a serious problem, and we think this would be a great tool in our toolbox to help.
I think Commissioner Adams had a question.
Yeah, Peyton, do you have any idea are the drugs just passing through on the highway mostly, or do they stop here in San Juan County?
The ones like last night, the 20 pounds, I believe they're passing through, going to places like Denver,
Okay.
bigger cities, and then from there it's distributed. It's no secret that San Juan County has its own issue with narcotics, so they're being distributed from major hubs.
Okay, and so this ongoing cost, are we going to build that into the sheriff's budget, or what are you talking about, Matt?
It naturally would come from the sheriff's budget.
It'd come out of the sheriff's budget?
Sheriff's budget.
Yeah, in the
And the sheriff department's willing to do that?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, that's all.
Try and
Question.
offset part of the, your planning seat to help the school district.
And I spoke to a few local businesses.
I
that
wonder
were
if the
like,
school
willing to do
district
that.
too, because I sure it'd be handy to have one of those dogs visit the school sometimes, you know?
And if I get the position to be the handler of the dog, my goal would be to run a dog in the school every month, hopefully every month.
Mhm.